What's going on, guys? This is Vince with vshred.com, and in today's video I'm going to take you through 5 of the worst tricep extension mistakes that I see made all the time, and I'm going to tell you why they're wrong, and I'm also going to show you how to fix them so that when you go to do tricep work or any kind of extension for triceps, you actually start making progress and you start getting some muscle definition and some muscle growth and some strength gains from the effort that you're putting in. All right, like I said in today's video, I'm gonna walk you through a couple of the biggest mistakes that I see made when I see people doing tricep extensions, because obviously if you're trying to get bigger arms, you want to work your triceps because of your upper arm. Your tricep is going to take up roughly around 70% of your upper arm. So if you want big arms, you need to work your tricep because there's 3 heads to the tricep. You wanna make sure that you're doing it correctly, otherwise you're gonna struggle. And so I'm gonna show you a couple of the mistakes that you might be making that you're not even sure that you are making. You probably don't even know that you're making these because it's such subtle mess ups, I guess, in the form that you have. And this is really gonna help you become aware of those and do it 100% right. And I guarantee when you do it right, it's gonna take your exercises to the next level and you're gonna feel a burn like you haven't felt ever before. Now, before I get into that, I do wanna say that if you're trying to take muscle growth to the next level, if you're trying to get muscle definition, if you're trying to get your abs popping, and whatever you're trying to do, you have to have an all-around plan catered to what your goals are. You can't just follow some kind of one-size-fits-all plan because it's not gonna work for you, and you probably know that already. If you want to figure out exactly what type of diet, what type of all-around training is going to work best for you, I created a free body type quiz that tells you exactly what you need to do in the gym, the type of workouts that are best, the type of diets, the type of foods that are best for your goals, and it lays it all out there in one quick video. You can click the link right down in the description below this video to take the quiz and just watch the video at the end, and that's all you gotta do. Now, so you can take that. Also, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, I get a lot of viewers watching these videos and they don't ever subscribe, and therefore they're missing out on these other topics that I talk about on the channel that they're probably confused about as well. So if you're confused about, or if you enjoy fitness and you enjoy learning new workouts and new tips about fitness, make sure you're subscribing to the channel because I'm coming out with new videos all the time. Now, let's get into these 5 mistakes. So I'm gonna jump right into the first one. It's going to be, so you obviously know what tricep extensions are. You get up to the tricep, the cable machine usually, you got some kind of attachment here and you're going like this. And a lot of times you see guys or girls trying to go super heavy because they wanna put on all this muscle and get super strong, and they're going super heavy and they're going like this. And biggest mistake number 1 right here is you need to stop creating momentum. Stop taking your elbows and going like that. Stop bending down and creating momentum with your body, using your weight to get this handle about a foot down before your triceps really even start to be fully engaged. Instead of doing that, I would rather you drop the weight down to, let's say, so it's at 130 pounds right now. Could I do this clean right here a couple times? Sure. I could do this clean a couple times, but then it's gonna get too heavy to do it clean. And rather than me going like that, I would rather drop this down 30 pounds to down to 100. And I would rather go right there and go nice clean form, or I'm not creating any kind of momentum. And by not creating momentum, I'm forcing my triceps to get the work done for me, to push this cable down, because obviously you need extension of the elbow to make sure you're using your triceps. So stop creating momentum. That's gonna be the first, and I wouldn't say biggest mistake, but one of the most common that I see done. Mistake number 2, and this one is, I mean, all these are gonna be pretty closely related. This one is going to be to make sure you're aware of where your elbows are. Stop letting your elbows move back and forth, because when you're going to do an extension, some kind of tricep extension, a lot of times you see guys going like this. So my elbows right now, don't even really realize it, my elbows are forward. because this is not where my elbows should be for the tricep extension. My elbows should be back here because my upper arm should be pretty much straight up and down to the ground. It should be perpendicular to the ground. It should be right here. It should not be over here. It should be right there. So by having my elbows out in front, what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be extending, I'm gonna be using my triceps to get this down, and then at the bottom, I'm moving my elbows back, and then as I come forward, elbows are sliding forward again. You do not want to allow them to do that. So rather than letting them go forward and back without even realizing it, because yes, you're working your triceps when you do this, but you'll work your triceps even better if you go, nope, locking my elbows into place right there, pushing it down, squeezing, keeping my elbows back in place, tucked in against my side. And when you do that and hold it there, it is so much harder. So that is gonna be mistake number 2. Mistake number 3 is going to be related to where you stand in relation to the cable. So when you think you're doing tricep extensions, you think that you step right up here to the cable and you wanna push this weight straight down, right? Well, what's the mistake right here? Because when I'm right here, that's fine. Gravity is pulling my arms upward, which is forcing my triceps to hold it right here, to not allow it to go up any further. But the second that I push it all the way down, now look at my arms compared to this cable. It's almost parallel to the cable. It's not completely parallel to the cable, but they're both in lines going to the ground. And because of that, you're not having much pressure actually on the triceps at the bottom of the exercise. So down here, it's a lot easier than right here. So what you wanna do is very simple. You want to take a half step back. And by taking a half step back, not only do you allow there to be tension on the tricep at the top, but also when you're down at the bottom, that cable is not as close to parallel as it was before. So even down at the bottom, this is still working my triceps an immense amount. So it's working it all the way up to the top, working it all the way down at the bottom. So just that half step back is gonna make the world of a difference with what you actually feel in your triceps. So that's gonna be number 3. Number 4 is gonna be related to the contraction that you're actually focusing on when you're doing the exercise. And what I mean by that is with any exercise you've ever done in your entire life, every single rep has 3 contractions. You have your concentric, so in tricep extension case, you have concentric, which is going to be pushing it down. You have isometric, which is holding it in place at the bottom, or it could be holding it in place right here at the top. Basically, when you're holding the muscles being worked, but you're holding it in place. And then you have your eccentric, which is when you allow the weight to go back up. So you're allowing your arms to go back up and the weight go back down. Tip number 4, mistake number 4 is stop forgetting about the eccentric contraction, because typical, and I'm guilty of this, I was guilty of this years ago. When I would go to do tricep extensions, I would focus on getting this as heavy as I could, and I would push this down with all my might, and I wouldn't really worry about the way up. Push it down, and as long as I got it down to the bottom, and sure, I was creating momentum there, letting my elbows move forward and all that stuff, but I wasn't focusing on the eccentric. I was focusing on pushing it down as hard as I could, and then not controlling it on the way back up. Pushing it down as hard as I could, but then not controlling it on the way back up. And the reason this is so important is because your triceps, along with any other muscle, are going to be stronger eccentrically. You're able to control weight better. You're able to control more weight when you are allowing it to go up rather than actually push down. I guarantee if you try to push down 200 pounds on tricep extensions, you might be able to do it, but it's going to be a lot harder than having 200 pounds down here and just slowly letting it rise back up. That's because your muscles are stronger eccentrically. So if you're forgetting about the eccentric contraction and not giving it the amount of focus that it needs, you're forgetting about the strongest contraction of all, and you're just throwing out a part of the exercise that's so important for muscle growth and for getting stronger. So number 4 is remember the eccentric and control it on the way back up. And last one, and this is not going to be the least important one of the 5. It's not the most important one of the 5. I didn't try to put these in any order. But last one is going to be stop doing underhand tricep extensions when you are trying to go heavy. Is it good to change up the attachment and the grip that you're using when you're doing tricep extensions? Of course it is. Is it good to use the rope versus a straight bar? Is it good to use an easy bar versus a straight bar? Yes, it's always good to continue to try to confuse the muscle. That way you avoid plateaus. But when you are going heavy and you're trying to really focus on strength and you're trying to really push your limits, you want to avoid this grip right here. Why? Because there's no difference between your arms being like this and like this for your triceps as far as extension goes. This right here is gonna work your triceps the same amount as this right here. But this right here with your hands overhand, with your hands pronated, is going to be a lot stronger than with your hands supinated. This is immediately going to weaken the amount of weight that you can use. Like right now, this is, like I said, at 100 pounds. I could do this for a couple clean sets for sure. As soon as I flip my hands over, I go underhand just like that, this is a lot harder. So I'm limiting myself. If I'm really trying to focus on tricep growth and tricep strength, I'm limiting myself by flipping my hands to go underhand rather than just sticking with overhand where I can really use the optimal strength to push my limits and try to build muscle and get stronger. So those are 5 of the most common tricep extension mistakes that I see made, and I'm not saying that's all of them. There's definitely more out there. These are just a couple of the ones that I see done the most, and I'm hoping that this will help you avoid these mistakes in the future so that when you go to do tricep extensions at the gym, you have super clean form, you start feeling it in your triceps a lot more, and therefore you get that nice horseshoe look and you get that tricep growth that you're going for. So hope this video helped you guys. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel, liking this video if it did help you. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.